guys and dolls, girls and gals? Welcome back to season 2, episode 2 of the Get Ready With Me series. This video is going to be so much fun because we are going to watch some epic vocal fails, and I'm going to give some critique, and I might even tell you a few stories from my archive of bad experiences while on a live stage. All right, you guys, this is the first video. Let's see what it's given. We love a good disclaimer. There's an disclaimer at the beginning. Also, let's put an disclaimer at the beginning of mine. I am not coming for any of these singers. I don't know any of these singers. I don't have anything personal to say about any of these singers. I don't want no smoke. The brand that is Marshay Dominique don't want no smoke. All right, let's do it. All right, so this first video seems to be a little bit of a compilation of Christina Aguilera's live moments on stage. Let me just say, I'm a 90s baby, okay? I was raised on the queen that is Christina Aguilera. Was always singing Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Beyonce in my room for hours on end. My poor parents, God bless them, I just was singing my head off. And what I will say about Christina Aguilera is she is very well known for pushing out those forceful, very, very intense and progressive notes. So she's a powerhouse singer, but there's definitely a point in your vocal journey where all artists go through it. These artists are on stage. They're on stage night after night. Sometimes they're performing during tours. So whether the sun is up or down, whether the rain is cold or the weather is warm, that stuff can affect how you feel from day to day. That stuff can affect how your voice feels from day to day. The same way, you know, a teenager wakes up and one day they're happy, one day they're sad. Your voice can do the same thing. Like for instance, right now, I have my air conditioner running. I have to turn it off. In like 5 minutes, I have to cut it. I cannot use the air conditioner past a certain amount of time because it will dry my vocals out. And I have an upcoming show, so I have to be very careful with moderating my day-to-day activities, because if I don't, it could affect my voice 2 to 3 weeks from now. So I'm not gonna sit here and come for the queen that is Christina Aguilera, because she's still hitting some very difficult notes. She's going flat, she's cracking a little bit, but she's singing these powerhouse notes all the time. A lot of times these performers, they're in the studio and they're working with a team of people who's giving them advice, or maybe creating these songs for them. Maybe they wrote the song, or maybe they're making the rhythm and the melody, and they're coming up with an idea as far as a label. We want to push this song, we want it to hit this market, we want to hit this demographic, we need you to give us all you got. So there's a lot of pressure on these singers when they're in the recording studio. But when they translate what they recorded to the stage and then they're singing it for 10 plus years, that can do some damage. So I'm not gonna come for the queen that is Christina Aguilera. Nice try though, you guys tried to catch me up there. Okay, let's see, who can we get to next? Oh boy.
But you gotta put in work, you don't gotta give up.
Okay, so that was a few compilations of moments where Camila Cabello, I hope I'm saying her name right, Camila Cabello is performing. I will say I didn't think there was really anything wrong there, and I've seen some performances where she has had some kind of sketchy vocal moments, but this looks like she's progressed and she's actually doing really good. One clip at the end, yeah, she went off the note a little bit. She was off key just for a slight moment, but it looks like that was a Good Morning America set. And what I will say about those Good Morning America performances, you're waking up at the crack of dawn's ass. You're getting up at like 2 a.m. to hit glam and get your outfit together because you're on national television. It's usually first thing in the morning, so I say you're hitting these powerhouse notes like 5-6 a.m. And while I can do it any day of the week at any hour of the day, I'm not gonna sit here and say after 2 years of touring and maybe even being worn out, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably gonna be a point that I make a lot throughout this video. Mainstream artists that do not have full control, full artist creative control, they're not in control of their schedules either. So if the label books them for a gig at 8 a.m. in the morning and they have to have this hit song prepared and it's a hit song with a lot of powerhouse notes, they really need maybe a vocal coach on the back end, and sometimes labels will provide them that. But you got to remember, when you're signed to a label, everything you need is kind of coming out of your pocket and taking that from your advance and recouping their investment. So if there's anything these artists really need, it's probably just someone on the back end who's actually taking care of them and their voice. Really, when I was really young, 16, so I had probably hit puberty, but I wasn't all the way like out of puberty, and I wasn't like smoking. I smoked a little bit sometimes. So before I was like, you know, really developed, my voice was still really, really high pitched, and I was able to hit whistle notes. And when I say whistle notes, I'm talking like opera singer notes. And I was studying Mariah Carey, so I had learned how to adapt the whistle note register. And it was pretty cool because that's not something a lot of artists can do. It's not something that's not a range that a lot of singers have. But I had to do a lot to hit those notes. I had to take weeks of preparation. I had to prepare a certain concoction of teas, and I had to have it all the time. And I couldn't talk. I'm a talker and I'm a laugher. I'm very loud. Listen, when I'm me, I'm boisterous. So I couldn't do all of that. I had to kind of restrict myself. I had to sleep a lot. I had to have very humid atmospheres all the time in order to prepare my voice to be able to have a whistle note moment when I was performing. So it takes a lot of structuring your voice outside of the stage. When you're on stage, any fails you have is usually contributed to the lack of preparation outside of the stage. So I'm not gonna come for Camila Cabello either. I think she's developed really well as a vocal artist, because it was some times that she was, you know, she was still getting used to maybe being a mainstream artist, but these videos really don't sound bad to me, so I'm not gonna come for her either. I love so that was Demi Lovato. I love an artist who claims their moment, right? So she had a lot of patchy moments in there. She did, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not coming for Demi Lovato either. Listen, I'm not gonna ever come for any artist who has the guts to get on stage and try something, because it's very hard. It's very hard, you guys, to get on stage and to take matters into your own hands and to let people judge you and criticize you for who you are as an artist in that moment while you're performing raw and vulnerable and giving emotion. I mean, there's so much that goes into a live performance. So I'm never ever gonna come down on an artist unless they're just up there, you know, wasting everyone's time. But these artists are doing very well. They're taking their careers seriously. They're obviously very passionate about what they do. What I love about Demi Lovato is in that one moment where she really, I mean, she just butchered this note. And you could tell it was a little bit of a vulnerable performance, so maybe there was like very light live accompaniment, but we mostly heard her raw vocal, right? So every mistake, the audience is right there, she's on camera, there's a lot. And in that moment, she owned her mistake right after it happened. And I am absolutely that kind of artist. I will actually stop and talk to my audience. I like to tell jokes. I mean, call it what you want, but I believe in being yourself on stage. I think that's the one thing that you can do to really excel as a live performer, is to not dwell on the perfection of it. You're not going to be perfect all the time, but how you handle your imperfections is just as important as how you handle preparation for the live stage. And last but not least, I said I would talk about some of my vocal fail moments. So I don't have many, clock it, but I am big on forgetting the words. I don't like to perform covers anymore. I try to perform my original music, because if I'm freestyling my original music, can you really tell? No. But if I'm singing a live cover and I forget the words, you'll probably point that out, you know? I'm known for butchering the lyrics and maybe being like, sorry guys, I'm not gonna sing this song anymore. Mid-song, just being like, never mind, we're gonna take this off the set list. That's the cool thing about being an independent artist who's fully in control of their career. You can mess up where you mess up at, and you can correct where you correct, and there's no one penalizing you on the back end. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this point of my life where I can actually make mistakes, and they're not considered mistakes unless I want them to be considered mistakes. I used to be very hard on myself when I was much younger, so I'm a lot calmer now when it comes to approaching the stage and just being comfortable up there. But in the beginning of my career, I was definitely like, every note. I mean, I would be up there singing. One time I sang I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, and I was like, I had a live band. It was really emotional, and when I got done, people were like, oh my God, that was amazing. That's a really difficult song, but you aced it. I had 6 points of notes for myself that I was like, it could have been better. And that would be my response. It could have been better. And they're like, girl, what? Whitney Houston, you sang Whitney Houston. Were you there? Did you see the same thing we saw? And sometimes it's like, no. Sometimes the artist doesn't see the same thing that you saw, because we're being much harder on ourselves. So I've grown out of that. I'm not going to beat myself up for getting on stage and delivering an A+ performance because I wanted to be A++++. I think that is a healthy phase for artists to go through, but don't get stuck there. You know, last thing I'll say is, in the very beginning of my career, I used to perform at talent shows all the time. So if my school had a talent show, I would seek out talent shows there. I'd seek out local talent shows, but I specifically liked competitions. I wanted to be compared to others, and I wanted to win and advance to the next level, because that's what would tell me how good I was. I would definitely, like, my first live performance was a 7th grade talent show. I think I might have sung a Mariah Carey song, but I was so nervous. I just remember being like terrifiedly nervous. Like, I was shaking. I remember holding the microphone and I just was shaking, and nobody could see it because of course they're all at least 8 feet away from me and I'm on a stage. But I was shaking so much I thought they could see me, and I got off stage and I just felt like this big, and everybody was like, you did great. So if I have any takeaway advice for any of these artists or any other artists, have fun. Do not be hard on yourself, and cut yourself some slack. You're on a live stage doing something that it takes a lot of people years to be able to do. It's very, very tough to have the courage to get in front of an audience and allow them to judge you and pick you apart. But take your practice seriously. If you're not ready to get on stage, don't. Last but not least today, you guys, one thing that I wanted to shout out, I have reached a certification in my career. I've hit a major milestone, and it's certifying me as an independent artist, which means my music is streaming internationally across multiple regions, and it's doing very well. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to anyone and everyone who listens to my music, who clicks on my stuff when I post videos, who comments or sends me a DM to just say, hey, thanks for being you and doing your thing. It actually matters so much to me. And this is the best week I've ever had. Happy 1st of the month. I mean, today is technically April 2nd, but it's still the 1st of the month. So we're in new energy. And I know there's a lot going on all across the world right now, so it means a lot to me that you all take the time out to listen to my music and maybe allow it to take you somewhere else so you can escape all of what's going on in the world right now. Thank you guys. I love you so much. I'm gonna catch you on Sunday for episode 3 of this Get Ready With Me series. Salud.
We're trying to run game over me. You feel like a horse and I swear I'm right at. But ain't nothing in this world